Welcome to the campus of Chico State. We acknowledge and are mindful that CSU Chico stands on lands that were originally occupied by the first people of this area, the Machupta, and we recognize their distinctive spiritual relationship with this land and the waters that run through campus. We are humbled that our campus resides upon sacred lands that once sustained the Machupta people for centuries. When on the campus, please enjoy its beauty and show respect to this amazing place.
Have you ever prepared for something for 20 years and then it finally happened?
Joining me now for this week's Small Business Big Ideas is Lane Hensley, co-founder and COO of Odyssey Teams. Thanks for being with us, Lane.
An Odyssey is a journey marked with notable occurrences. That's how we define it. And I've been creating journeys for people.
We are given these gifts all the time, but we have our blinders on and we've been taught the lesson to put our hand down. And I am saying, put your hand up. Take a risk.
Never sacrifice what you want most for what you want in the moment, because the moment will pass and what you wanted most will elude you like a butterfly in the wind.
It seems like you offer businesses a twofer. The first thing is they learn about team building and consensus building inside their own organization. But the second thing is, do you think that workers today, especially younger workers, have a need to have some extra social agenda that they're serving through their work instead of just making more widgets?
Absolutely. I mean, people want to know that their company is in it for the right reasons. And when they don't feel like there's a sustainable sort of learning environment, that they're not actually benefiting people out there in the real world, then it's built on smoke and mirrors.
And you know, the fun part about being here is I think what happened somewhere along the line is I stumbled onto something that was so good, people couldn't help but want to be a part of it.
On top of all this, he's developed programs for countless regional and global leadership teams and led collaboration, decision-making, and motivational programs for many Fortune 500 companies.
There's a chance you could leave this entire meeting and everything that it took to have you here and not change one thing about your behavior. Are you going to let that happen? I think you got too much invested in it to do that.
Be ready to work harder than you've ever worked before, be more scared than you can imagine, and be more proud about what you can accomplish when you lead with your heart and you trust yourself more than your mind tells you not to.
Welcome, Wildcat family, incoming students. Here's a shot of me. I got to tell you, it's an honor to get to speak with you today at this huge moment. This was my roommate, is my roommate from college. When I was in your shoes, I was a transfer student from American River Junior College, found my way to Chico State. My mom went here. I met my wife here. I raised my kids here. And your entry into Chico State is one of the greatest gifts you could ever give yourself. And I'm telling you, your life will be changed. And I know we're all in this crazy COVID, shelter in place, remote classes and all of that. I know you've been asked to peek into a 1-hour meeting today to help welcome you into this Wildcat family and start chapter 1. But we know your story started way before this Zoom call. We know that it started years ago when you started to dream of going to college and bettering yourself. And that's what and in some ways our whole lives, to meet you, to experience you, to have a place where you could feel at home and grow and learn and share. And that will not happen by accident. It happens by countless people working for you and the betterment of you. And we're asking you to meet us in that journey. Invest yourself into this hour right now. Get to know us. We want to get to know you. Of course, in this platform, we're not going to do chats and things like that. But stand up, be counted, contribute to this university, and when you get here, make this town a better place. We can't wait to see you, and we're starting now. So my name's Lane. Around the world talking to groups, but I was just like you, another kid that got a letter that said, I get to go to Chico State. Right now, I get to introduce you, I'm so proud, to the president of this university, someone that I met by chance 20 years ago, and we got to spend a day together working on how to be better as people. And when she was teaching physical education, all of the stuff that she was doing, She brought me in to help work with her group. And now, by a miracle, in 2016, she became the president of this university. But the best thing about President Hutchinson is she has a huge heart. She has a passion for learning, a passion for this school, and everything that you're about to experience. So congratulations to you. Not only have you set yourself apart by being in this university, you set yourself apart already for even being present for this meeting. So great job. And with that, it is my distinct honor to pass the Zoom stage over to President Hutchinson. Take it over. I can't wait to listen.
Great. Thanks, Lane, and welcome, Wildcat. It is the beginning of fall 2020 semester, and thank you for choosing Chico State. You know, I have to say that you've set a goal, a dream years ago, as Lane was saying earlier in his slide presentation, that many of you have been working to set this goal of college for maybe 10, 15, 18, 20, 30 years, and here you are. So let me be one of the first, as president of this fine university, to congratulate each and every one of you for the achievements that you've had to earn and for the obstacles you've had to overcome to be at this moment in your lives, which is at the doorstep of Chico State, where your today decides tomorrow. You are here with us, and we are thrilled that you chose us. And I will tell you this, that the faculty, staff, myself, and many others are here to support you. We believe in you. We know you will continue to be successful long after you leave us and while you're here and even after you're gone. But right now, while you're here, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that you're successful and to make sure that you engage in this world-class education and have as many experiences, many meaningful experiences as possible. Now, I know this fall is a little bit different, and let me tell you, it is all of our disappointment that we can't be all the way on campus. Some of you might have a class or two on campus, but for the majority of us, myself included, we're not on campus. We're going to be doing this virtually. So I have some tips that I want you to remember as we go forward with this. And first and foremost is that when you're at Chico State, you are part of the Wildcat family. You belong to a family that will take care of you while you're in school with us and long into the future when you are alumni. Once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. Whether virtual or in person, we are here for you. All we ask from you is that you reach out. You reach out to your faculty members, to your advisors, to your peer leaders, to me, to everyone on this call, to the students you meet, to alumni you know, to the alumni and moms and dads that you know and guardians who went to this fine institution. Reach out to us. We are there to support you. Secondly, when I think about connectedness, I know that some of you will be challenged by the technology, whether you have a challenge with your Wi-Fi connection or the fact that you're competing for time on a computer with others who in your home who are working and studying from home. Reach out to us and see how we can help you with that. I will tell you that we are increasing some Wi-Fi connections on our campus proper, and if you are on the campus for that single class, you may be able to find, when it's not smoky outside, some clear outdoor space to continue your studies. But connectivity is really, really important. When you have a sense of belonging at Chico State, it is because how well you work to get yourself involved and engaged in everything that you do. Your academics are incredibly important, but we also have all of these really cool organizations, activities, even civic engagement opportunities for you to get involved in. And I encourage you to do that as quickly as you can. So not only do you feel really at home at Chico State, but you begin to feel at home in the city of Chico as well. You know, many of you are first in your family to go to college. And I thought it might be good for you to know that I am too. I have two older brothers. I am the youngest of these two older brothers. I was the only girl. And with my generation, my mom and dad, who were high school graduates, did not think it was important that I go to college. and they really wanted my brothers to go to college, but we didn't have a whole lot of money. So my brothers and I were first to go, but we had to seek out financial aid of all sorts in order to accomplish that task. In addition, I've had other obstacles, not only the sexism of being a girl and a woman in a very sexist world, but first in my family. And also, many people don't know this, but I'm a woman with a disability, and that presents a whole nother host of challenges. The only reason I tell you this is that, as your president, Bree Holbert, said in a welcome address, that all of us have barriers to confront. It really is what we do with those barriers that help us. And her recommendation and my recommendation to you is to use those barriers as building blocks as you make your way through with us at Chico State. Now, we are dealing with a pandemic, and it would be not good if I didn't remind you of that and tell you that in order for us to stay healthy, in order for us to really care for the health and well-being of our families and everyone else, I need you to really comply with those COVID-19 Chico State commitments. So self-monitor, know the symptoms, stay at home and self-isolate if you feel unwell. Call our COVID-19 website hotline if you have and develop symptoms. Keep physically distanced by about 6 feet while you're socially connecting. Wash your hands, wear face coverings. I've got mine right here. And avoid large gatherings and parties. I know. It's like, who's going to avoid a large party and a gathering? But I'm telling you, I need you to do so. If you're able to comply with all of these rules and we're able to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, we're going to be able to keep our on-campus activities far longer than many of the other universities we see around the country. So I know you'll partner with me and really work on that. And then lastly, I'm going to bring it home and talk about taking risks. Your experience here for this world-class education will serve you well into the future, as long as you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone and take risks. So remember, we build inclusive communities here at Chico State. We are proud of you for all that you've achieved so far, and we are committed to your success in the future. And with that, it is my distinct honor to introduce AS President Bree Holbert, who not only is your AS President, but has served as the FFA National President for the country and is an ag education major and just a rock star. Bree, take it away.
Thank you so much, President Hutchinson, for that awesome introduction to myself. I don't know if I deserve it. My goodness, so much energy. But hello, Wildcats. My name is Bree Holbert, like said, and I am the agriculture science and education major at Chico State, a fellow Wildcat, a fourth-year student at Chico. This is my last year, and I couldn't be more excited to serve as the Associated Student Body President, which for most Wildcats who came from high school, maybe this last year, or maybe at our community college, AS President is basically ASB, someone who is a leader to every student on campus and serves students by students in our AS government at Chico State campus. So I kind of want to just start this welcome off with a little bit of analogy, and I hope that y'all can follow me. Now, today we're going to talk a lot about Wildcats, right? But as an agriculture science and education major with an emphasis in plant science, your girl loves plants. So we're going to jump into a little bit of a plant action over here, and we're going to talk about my friend the potato. Now, a lot of us know potatoes grown in Idaho, right? There's a huge Lay's factory there, and it's super cool, and they grow all the potatoes for Lay's chips. So if you didn't know that, now you know. But my friend the potato made its way all the way to California last fall in our Plant Science 101 class. Now, I was super stoked to start growing potatoes, but I was like, if you know about plants, we're in a Mediterranean climate. I don't know if this potato is going to do too hot here. And my goal is for the potato to be large. Like, I'm talking Airbnb large. And there's actually an Airbnb that's a hollowed out potato, and it's really cool if you want to check it out if you're ever in Idaho. But I wanted to grow this potato huge. And so when we were cutting it up, I made sure I got the largest tuber. I made sure I got the biggest pot. I put it inside of the soil, and I stuck it in the greenhouse. Now, this greenhouse takes this plant through so many different climates throughout the week and into most of the 2 months that I was inside of that greenhouse. And later on, I took that big pot, I took out the plant, the potato plant, and I stuck that plant inside of the soil outside in our university farm for our ag majors get excited for labs at the farm. Now, every week I'd go check out my potato and see how it was doing. And by maybe 2 months in, I was able to finally harvest that potato. I pulled it out, and it definitely wasn't large. In fact, it was probably pea size. I could pop into my mouth real quick. It really wasn't super exciting. But I think this analogy rings true for us as Chico State Wildcats. Obviously, none of us ever imagined that we'd be thinking of ourselves as a potato and a plant for that matter. However, I think it's important for us to take that analogy into this coming year. We are whatever we make this experience. Now, that plant grew a small potato, and in plant world, it's kind of its choice based off of the temperate environment that it's in. Based off the weather that it comes through, it's able to make that fruit and decide whether or not it's big or small. Here at Chico State, we have so many faculty, staff, advisors, community activities in AS, games, activities, programming made by some of these awesome people that are in the Zoom call right now that are able to provide us with such incredible opportunities to grow this year. Yes, it's going to be virtual and it's not what we expected. However, it's up to us to be able to cultivate the fruit, the crop that we really want out of this year. We can choose for it to be a large Airbnb-sized potato of an experience, or we can choose for it to be a pea size. It's obviously not the temperate climate experience and environment that we expected when we applied to Chico State last year. However, now that we're here, we have a choice, and that choice is to make this experience, like President Hutchinson said, what we can make of it, and be able to provide that sense of belonging for not only ourselves, but also for so many other people to come. You know, when I was a first Chico State student, I was super nervous to come onto this campus. And I even told my mama the first day of summer orientation, I was like, yo, I'm good. Like, I need to go. But I chose to stay. And for that choice, yes, Chico's gone through multiple different crazy things, whether it's COVID or the campfire, or, you know, students battling with some mental health. However, I think through those experiences, I was able to take them, understand them, and be able to cultivate such a beautiful growing experience that has led me to be here with you as your Associated Student Body President. And so with that being said, I am so excited to do whatever I can, just like President Hutchinson had said, to be there for you and to steward that community and to make sure that we grow the largest crop, the largest fruit that we could ever do as Wildcats. And so with that being said, I am so incredibly honored to pass it back to Lane, who's going to take us into the next part of our program. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Muted. All right, I'm back. There goes my shot at being perfect. And guess what, Wildcats? Don't come here if you want to be perfect, okay? This is the place where we learn. This is the place where we grow. This is the place where we stretch ourselves. You know, I loved being here. I loved going to this school. Many of you are probably transfer students coming from the junior college. I know it took me a long time to get through junior college. I had to take a couple of years off and work. I had to raise money. I had to pay my rent. And for me, and maybe some of you, there wasn't a big expectation like you will go to high school, and after high school, you go to college, and then the next step is a decision. For me, when I told my parents I was going to go to college, they're like, oh, you're going to college? What are you going to do there? You know, it wasn't the automatic. And here we are now coming together. I want to, again, recognize your President Hutchinson and Bree, the AS president. She has stepped into the role and stepped up for you, and she hasn't met you yet because of the impact of this place and the opportunities that are here. There are so many clubs. There's every club you can imagine available for you. There is this amazing town, and we are trying our very best to bring as much of the Chico experience into the virtual space for you. So if you're sitting back right now and just enjoying this conversation and going, oh, okay, you know, someday my Chico story will begin, then this is the moment where you realize that the Chico story has already begun. It's time to, you know, buy your bike. It's time to get that skateboard ready. It's time to start looking through the maps of the town. It's time when you show up in the class to realize, hey, you know, sort of, you know, school, we all learned school, right? If you were a kindergartner and you're like, oh, it's the first day of school, you know, and the teacher asks for a volunteer, you know, you'd put your hand up like this, you know, and the teacher would call on you and you'd say, oh, what was the question? You know, and your friends would be like, good job, you know, even if you got it wrong. And somehow through that life experience, you know, we get it wrong once and a friend laughs at us and we start going, wait a second, I won't raise my hand again. I'm just going to sit back. And by senior year, which a lot of you just graduated, you know, in this crazy graduation cycle and all that, but I'm sure you fell into the pattern that all of us do. Our little voice starts talking to us and it says, don't raise your hand until you're sure what's going to happen next. And the cost of that is our potential, our opportunities to really see what we can accomplish. And this is the place to see what you can accomplish. Everything we're learning and doing right now, because we've been forced to through COVID, is gonna ultimately make us better, because we are see each other and prejudge based on our assumptions and based on what we have looked back and said, well, since that happened then, it must happen next. And we not only do that for the people we see around us, but we do that for ourselves. We look in the mirror and you know, there was a joke on Jimmy Kimmel once. He said they created a robot that could recognize itself in the mirror. And he said it won't truly be human until it learns to hate what it sees. I was like, wow. We see what we look for, and when in doubt, we look for things that threaten or limit our ability to grow. I'm telling you, this place is the place where you build relationships with your teachers. Your friends are your teachers, and your teachers are your friends. And they come alongside you. I'm in touch with many of them. One of my very first instructors, Laura McLaughlin, I had cancer. I had tonsil cancer a few years ago. And she had breast cancer, and she went to a women with cancer survivors retreat that I would lead. And I know you're like, how does this dude, you know, lead a women with cancer survivors retreat? And, you know, it's like, because we're humans and we come alongside each other and we explore our surroundings. We explore who we could be. And because we can't give you a walk around campus and all those things that we like to do, you know, me and Ross and the team here, and we partnered with the school, and we want to take you on a little visual tour of this place. And I want you to really take some time to really think deeply about this decision you've made to be here. I just heard this quote the other day. Some people look at life and they say, what if? And some people look at life and go, even if. And really think about that fork in the road of what if versus even if. And Bree mentioned, you know, even if there's racial tension going on, and even if COVID is shutting us down, and even if this is happening, even if this is happening, that doesn't have to stop us. Do not be stopped because of the low-hanging fruit of excuses about us being isolated and disconnected and not writing the chapter of our story. The most beautiful part about Chico is it allows you to write the story that's right for you, and that creates our collective story. So here's some visuals. I want to show you this. I had a few friends that I was going to have in the studio with me and stuff, and we just couldn't do it because obviously we still had to shelter in place and maintain our social distancing and all that. So I think you'll enjoy hearing their stories. I've got a special guest in this video, and I'll let the cat out of the bag. It's my mom, who's 80 years old now. She'll tell you a little about her Chico story, and then let's come alongside each other and begin really crafting chapter 1 for you. So what you're going to need is a paper and a pen, or you can use your phone, because there'll be a time after this when I want to give you some notes that can really be like the answers to the test, that can make you significantly more successful and help you in building the relationships and teach you more about the campus and how to really thrive in this college experience, even if, or what if, even if things don't change for a while, even if you hit some obstacles along the way. So with that, I'm going to begin this video here. Even if I'm 53 years old, I can figure out this technology. All right, here we go.
Don't fail me now. Feet don't fail me now. Don't fail me now. Feet don't fail me now.
Hello, Wildcats. Boy, am I excited to see all of you here. You know why we are here? We're here to help you. We want you to thrive. Did you know Chico State is one of the top schools in the CSU system in graduation rate? We want you to be happy. This place is about fulfilling every dream you ever had about Chico State. Time now to go to our My Chico Story talk show host, Lane Hensley, for more.
Welcome back, and I really am excited that Jared's here. You know, when did you start at Chico? And give us kind of the heart and soul. What has your Chico story been like in 30 seconds or so?
Started back in 2013 and came up to Chico, saw a bunch of grass and cows. And I was like, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to be. But I got to campus and it was just some of the best people that welcomed me there and some of the best classes that I took during my first year as well. And one thing that I knew about Chico State as soon as I spent some time there was that this is where I was going to be able to grow and find out who Jared is.
So I know your story has impacted my story and has impacted so many other people's story in Chico. But I know there's one story that's starting now.
Right.
And that is that I think your sister is coming to Chico.
Coming on up to Chico.
Student.
Yeah. She is. She was on her way up and she's so excited.
Let's see if we can get her here.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
She is a 2020 high school graduate coming into Chico State. How are you feeling about starting your Chico story?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be starting at Chico. You know, my story really started with Chico Preview Day, and that got me so ramped up for the school year to be starting in the fall.
And you have a different experience than I do because I started in 2013, back with like black and white TVs and stuff, you know? and you're starting in 2020 where things are a little bit different with everything going on. So how do you feel about in-person but also virtual experiences?
You know what? Personally, I think whether it's in person or virtual, I think it is so important that we still get to connect with our teachers and our peers that are going through the same classes as us, because as far as the high and lows in the classes, it'll be so important for me to still know that I'm supported and that I'm a part of a community with my peers.
Right. The only thing that we're still missing is you don't look like a Wildcat just yet.
Oh my
We gotta get you some swag.
All right.
So let's go and get you some swag.
Oh, cool.
See, now you look like a Wildcat.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, well, that is going to prepare you for your first year at Chico State. And so I would say stay sharp, stay on your classes, and stay engaged in the city of Chico. It's going to be really...
Tell the incoming students a little about your Wildcat experience.
Let's see, I was in a community college in 1958, long before any of these students would have been. But I came to a women's sports event up here at Chico and walked around the campus and realized that this is the community for me. It was small. The college was just beautiful. And so I went back and decided that I wasn't going to go to the four-year college I had thought, but that I would choose Chico. The classes just were wonderful. And I had a bike, and Chico was such a great bike town. And so it was great for me to be able to do that. So I felt I just got a great education, and I just appreciate the opportunity that Chico provided for me.
Yeah, well, thank you, Grandma Kay or Mom or past Wildcat. So, hey, let's just set you up in some Wildcat gear before you go. You ready?
Sounds great.
Whoa! Everybody looks better in Wildcat gear, and thanks for telling us about your biking and your Chico story. And I'm just thankful for you inspiring me. Everybody who's at Chico probably had somebody who blazed the trail for them, and you did for me. Thanks for telling us the story.
Thank you, Grandma Kay. The Chico story. How cool was that? Hey, take advantage of your education here, folks. Did you know Chico State has been named a top 10 public university in the West by U.S. News every year since 1998? We lead the way in sustainability, we win national competitions, and our student athletes dominate the competition. Now we are striving to be a leader in student engagement in the online virtual learning space, and our Emergency Operations Center has been working overtime to ensure we are world-class in our pandemic response. Take it from a fellow Wildcat, Ross Field, class of 2006. Chico State is a great college to attend. And now it's time for all of you to find that out yourselves. Your Chico story begins now. We can't wait to see the chapters unfold. Welcome home, Wildcats.
Do that thing that you do. I'll show you a new move. Check out the diggy go. Don't fail me now. Don't fail me
now. Welcome back, Wildcats. I hope you can see and hear me. We had some kind of bizarre like lightning strike or something to my office. To the leadership team, I can see you. I can't see participants. Can you nod and thumbs up if we're doing good? Can you hear me all right? Okay, let's go forward. We're blazing on to the journey of your Wildcat story. And with that, I asked you to grab a pen and paper because I want to drop as much knowledge and kind of giving you as many of the answers to the test as I possibly can in just a little bit of time that we have together. So as I look at my watch here, we've only got like 20 minutes, okay? And in this 20 minutes, we'll be right up to the end. I'm gonna reveal at the end this mosaic that we've produced out of all of the pictures that you sent in. Now I know maybe some of you out there were like, oh, I was supposed to send a picture? Dang, missed my first assignment. Well, it's not the end of the world, but it would have been great to have every incoming student's photo. There are 300, 400, 500, 4,000 of you out there that are going to be participating, experiencing Chico State for the first time. So I asked you to grab a pen and a paper because I want to talk to you about a couple of the most critical elements that you're going to need to navigate through as you really embrace the Chico State experience. Now, a little about me, you saw this flashy video at the beginning and all that stuff, and it's like, I want you to get a sense of who I am. We always go, people want to know who you are, where you're going, can they trust you? So I'm just a guy in Chico here. I was just another student that teacher, Laura McLaughlin, and the staff that started to really take me under my wing. My best friend, Rand, who really pulled me, he taught me how to do school. So I've put up here on the screen what I call, I like to refer to it as the 5-finger framework, but really there's a palm involved. And I've already given you the answers to the test, but I want to give you the sort of why of each of those answers, okay? So it's not enough to just go, hey, I got the answers to the test and just circle the bubbles, walk out of class like, boom, aced it, right? This is about going, okay, I got the answers, but how did I get the answers? Would I get the answers if I was on my own and I had to do my own research? So there's a couple different things that we bring into life, and all of you are going to bring to this campus and bring to your virtual education environment. Okay, and one thing we know you'll bring is a bunch of habits and patterns, right? You carry things with you. And right now, if you're out there, I want you to just wiggle your fingers like this. This is you clapping for me, by the way, if in sign language. And I can't see most of you, but you can see yourself. So wiggle your fingers for me, and then just lace those fingers together. Just clasp them like you're just deciding to, clasp your hands. And notice which thumb ended up on top. Is it your left thumb or your right thumb? For me, it's my left thumb, which feels totally natural. And that's a habit. That's a reflex. That's my birth. I didn't really plan it. Like, oh, mom, I want to be left thumb on top. It's just how I did it. And I want you to try it the way at least half of your classmates try it. Okay, so shift your fingers so they're all in the different way like this. Okay, so this is you learning. This is actually, there's so much science to this, and I can't obviously go into that. But the science is your brain is going, well, wait, no, that's not how we do it, And you've said, no, I have the controls here. I can override the system preference. I can override the autopilot. And you can even get better at it. So I want you to go back and forth between 5 times. I know it's a Zoom call, you don't have to, but hey, it's your money. It's your investment of time and energy, right? Let's see. Hey, how much can I learn from this guy? Yeah, this is me being better. This is me learning. This is me saying, oh, I got your new environment. I can learn to be good in Zoom. I love people. I love traveling. I've been all over the world, and big audiences, small audiences, it doesn't matter. What matters is how much am I learning? How reflexive am I being? When my wife comes to me, I met my wife in ballroom dancing. If you don't know how to ballroom dance, Chico State has an amazing ballroom dancing class. You get in this class, there's like 100 guys, 100 gals, and we're all there, and they put us in, and all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, who's that? And she was a nursing student, but reflexively, When my wife says, hey, honey, I want to talk to you about what you did, my reflex is, oh, good, I got something to complain about too. You know, that's how I feel. And all of you out there, you're getting ready to move out of your house maybe, you have roommates, you've developed reflexive patterns. And we can grow outside of those things. So I want you right now, if you're taking notes, to just think of what are some reflexes I have that I need to start choosing a different pattern if I'm going to be successful at Chico State. And I don't mean just successful in the classroom, successful with your roommates, successful in asking a tough question in class, whether that's in the Zoom platform in the real world, right? Because that kindergartner will lower their hand more and more because their little voice says, I don't know what's going to happen next, so just be quiet. And I'm telling you, your life, your future, your investment here is more important than being comfortable. People are standing up right now going, hey, that's not right what's happening to that person. That's not fair what's happening. We need to stand up, raise our hands, and be counted to make change happen. And we're being thrust into that. And you, because I'm going to assume a person that wants to better your life, you said, hey, I could go comfortable or I could go to Chico State. I could try to achieve something more. I can take this reflexive pattern to just be lazy. And I know if you're a senior, you just graduated from high school, you and I know you're the most well-rested class in history. You went from being up at 6:30 and grinding away and headed to school at 7:15 or whatever. I have two daughters, one that just graduated, so she's off to college as well, right alongside you, moved her into the dorms. She who's never slept in so much in her life. And now it's like that pattern can start to affect who you become. And this place is designed for you to become the maximum potential achievable. And you and I don't know what that is. You don't know what that is, but your mind will try to limit that. I just heard this story. It's an awesome story. This young man, he's not doing well in school. He's a junior in high school. He's flunking out, hanging with the wrong crowd. And he promises his mom he would take the SAT. So he takes the SAT out of 1,600. He gets his score back. He gets a 1480. He's like, what the heck? I might be smart. His mom's like, hey, you got a 1480, you know. Did you cheat? Did you figure out a way to cheat? And he says, no, Mom, I didn't cheat. It's bubbles and stuff. Like, I don't know what happened. And she says, hey, you got a 1480. You're brilliant. Like that's in the top, you know, and gives him the percent. He says, you know what? Maybe I'll start going to class. Maybe I'll start hanging with different people. I'm gonna make different choices. And that's what he does. Graduates, goes on to junior college, and he goes on to graduate degrees, and he becomes really successful in the journalism industry. And then 12 years later, gets a letter from the SAT board, and they say, you are one of 13 people that got the wrong score. You actually got a 780. Now, obviously, this is years later, and it doesn't matter. He changed the way he acted. He changed his beliefs about himself. He started to believe he was a 1480. He started to act like a 1480. There's a story that says that if you're hanging out with 5 people that are successful, you'll become the 6th. If you're hanging out with 5 people making bad choices, you'll become the 6th. If you're hanging out with 5 people that are asking questions and challenging their instructors to teach them, you'll become the 6th. So part of you preparing yourself to be successful here starts now, of course, in your virtual classrooms, and recognizing, who do I gravitate toward? Is that a reflexive thing because they just happen to look like me, talk like me, walk like me, work like me? Thing because I go, whoa, this group's successful. I know for me, when I had dropped out of junior college because I was working and I just didn't understand why I wanted to go to school, I spent a New Year's Eve with a bunch of Stanford students. And for me, I was at Sacramento, I was at American River Junior College, and I just thought, these people, they talk about different stuff than my friends. Like, we're just, they know what's going on in the world. I'm just like, I want to be educated. And that was it for me. That was the seed that was planted. That was my potato, right? As Bree was talking about, that was me going, you know what? I want to be a big potato. I want to do something with my life. I want to be more like these people. I started hanging out with those 5 people, and I became the 6th. A few years ago, I was actually, I'm just telling you, anything's possible. I was selected as a distinguished alumni at Chico State. My parents are like, what the heck? How did you go from like, we didn't know you were going to graduate, to now you're one of the distinguished alumni of all time. And I'm not here to tell you how that happened or boast about that, but other than to say, I'm no better than you. I'm no different than you. I might have more drive because at one moment I figured out my why. So let's look at this really quickly. Let me check my clock. Okay, we're looking good. So for me, number one, I want to give you something portable because you're going to take these things to every class. If you're blessed enough to have two hands, I've actually created a program where we build prosthetic hands. Is probably why I was recognized. And we've put over 50,000 prosthetic hands on people in 80 countries. So I don't underestimate the power of my hands, the power of your hands. That these are the hands that you'll either make people feel good with a hand signal, or you can make people feel really bad with a hand signal, and you know the one I'm talking about. These hands are gifts. We've clasped them. And so in this place, I want you to just think about your thumb as there's 5 things you need to focus on. Number one, emotion. We're all in an emotional roller coaster right now. I'm confused. How do I get into school? What's going to happen? I'm sad. I'm lonely. Depression rates are skyrocketing. Drug and alcohol abuse, mental and physical abuse. There's a lot of emotion going on. And this university is designed to catch you in your emotion and say, how can we help satisfy the emotions that are going to be destructive for you? And joy and happiness. There's a rec facility here that's amazing. It's just such a great place to express, your emotion of competitiveness. So here we are with emotion, and just recognize, how will I manage my emotion? How open can I be? How have your parents or whoever's taking care of you been doing with their own emotion as they're maybe working from home and they're dealing with their own things, with difficulties in work and so forth? Number 2, I want to talk about is direction. We've all been struggling with our ability to find our direction, to, like I said, some of you from high school, all of a sudden you're sleeping in and you're like, what's my class? Your direction totally changed. Your discipline totally changed. And you had better be clear about your direction when you get here. And even now, start clarifying, what is the direction I want for my life? All the pieces are in place. That's what I'm telling you. The people are in place. The facility is here. The technology is coming into fold to allow you to determine any direction you want for your life. I'm living proof of that. I do a podcast called You Go First, and I pull people in that say, can you help people discover their ability to go first? Bree is going first. Kendra, going first. Mary, these people, the staff are in place. They go first for you to blaze the trail, and then they say, just follow us, and then you take the next step. You write the next chapter. So direction is so key. Now, this next finger, I know I had to complete the whole hand, but it's a very important part of our life, and that is venting our frustrations and just venting. We have to have healthy ways. Man, I'm frustrated. What do? I go for a run, or I do something destructive. I might drink or do a drug or something. I mean, you are being bombarded with messages that say, oh, hey, this is an easy way to feel better. Less work. Your cell phone says, hey, here's 100 ways to make it easier. The internet says easier. Everything is saying easier, but guess what, folks? Venting can be hard. It can be a difficult time to go, I feel this emotion. I've lost my direction, and now I'm frustrated. Developing good habits and patterns. Biking is such an important part of Chico culture. I hope you find yourself on a bike. You have a bike, bring a good lock, and lock that bike up, but ride that bike. It's a great way to vent after class. Wherever you are out there in the world, find healthy ways to vent the emotion, the physical frustration you might be feeling. We all have to do that. I have to do that better. Now, the cool part about the way this worked out is, if this is me venting, who do I vent to? And that's my relationship finger. Like I said, I'm married. And usually people vent to the people we love, people close to us. And those are the people that help us find our way through difficult times. And this university, this place, even in the digital space, when somebody makes a comment in your class, find their name on the list and send a message to them. Hey, great comment. I had that question too. Instead of, the dark troll that's just like, yeah, that was a stupid question. if we want the world to be better, let's make our classroom better. You got some homework tonight. Let's make whoever you're living with feel better. Come to them, go first. To say, you know, I'm sorry, I've just felt a lot of frustration. My emotions are all over the place. My direction is unclear. I don't even know if I'm going to get to move into the dorms. What's my moving date? All these things my classes are changing. And I just got to vent for a minute. But guess what? You're the person I vent to because I love you. You're close to me. These are important pieces to that puzzle. And the last thing on the digits here is this idea that, you know what? The little things, this is our little finger. And there's a lot of little things that are going to make you successful here. There's a lot of little things that could cause you to fail here. And taking ownership of each of these elements is critical. Yesterday, I did a podcast with this guy, Nick Harris. He's a drummer for like a total rock band, and he travels, does 118 shows a year, traveling all over the world. And he said, you know, the message isn't worth anything if you don't do anything about it. I changed the little things that I was doing in my life. He's in bars all night and he's playing drums and he's been sober and not done anything for over 3 years. He's like, that doesn't get me closer to who I want to be. You know, somebody says, you know, I'm sure you've heard this from your parents before. I just do it because I said so. Because I said so, right? You are transcending the because I said so time in your life. And it's time for you to say, because I said so. I said I was going to do this, therefore I do it. So the I said so kind of changes. Hey, why did you help me move? Well, because I said so. I said I would. Why are you continuing to work on this project? I said that I was going to, so I am. And the last thing is this is a why. This is what holds it all together. Why do you want to graduate from Chico State? Why do you want to get an education? Why do you want to better yourself? Why do you want to invest yourself in all of the time and energy that it takes to get a degree? And I hope you're taking time to ask yourself that. You may have just found your way here and now you don't have a strong why. And therefore, when it gets hard, you won't figure out how. Recognize the gap between why and how. Without a strong why, you will not figure out how. Take some of this isolation time to go, why is it important for me to graduate? It's not for my parents. It's not for whoever raised me, and it's not for anybody else. It's for you. This is the why of it all. And have a strong why, and you'll figure out how. You'll find the people. Like I said, there are so many services, so many things here at Chico ready to support you. But if you don't have a strong why, you might take the path of least resistance and just disappear out of the chat box, blocking off your camera, and just muting your microphone and finding that path of least resistance. We are dedicated to your success, but you have to meet us on that journey. Nobody's going to make you do school. Nobody's going to make you do this. No one's going to make you better except for you. I have one more thing I want to do here. All right. So I appreciate your time and attention, but like I said, you all invested yourselves. We've been working for a long time to try to plant some seeds of opportunity in you, and they'll grow in this environment of Chico State. There's a few people that have really worked hard to make this happen, and we all put together this mosaic. But like I said, there's all these clubs on campus, and I know that she was nervous about me, but Kendra, she runs these programs that are all student life related, and she has a huge team of people. I've been able to teach what's called an etiquette dinner through the Career Center, teaching you proper etiquette in these business dinners and networking know-how. I mean, they do everything for you here except for force you to step in and grow. Like in the video, I knew this place was a place where he could grow. And this place will absolutely just not be complete without you, without your picture in the big picture. So in a second, I'm going to show you the picture that we produced with all of you. Because who is Chico State? You are Chico State. This is one community, but it's really nothing without you in it and a whole bunch of other people with the same vision that they could better themselves. So a few things to think about today is, again, what if versus even if. Learning to look at your environment and go, is this an emotional issue? Is this a direction issue? Is this just me venting? Is there a relationship that I need to work on? Where is my best friend? Who do I turn to? Is this just a little thing that I can figure out? And maybe my why. You didn't even know maybe why it was important for you to be on this message today. You could have found a way out. A lot of people did. But I'm telling you, if you're still out there watching, you've already separated yourself from the majority. You're already in the top 10%. And if you continue that pattern, you will find yourself in the top 10% more and more frequently. And as my life and career started to unfold and I started to really challenge who I could reflexively become versus who I could become if I really had deliberate intention about it, the world will start unfolding for you. You'll start finding those 5 people that will help you become the 6th, that have a level of success and awareness that you want to have in your life. With that, again, my name is Lane Hensley. I'm a Chico resident. You'll see me around town. You can catch me on my podcast, You Go First, or you can catch me on social media. I think I put those things up there somewhere. And I'm sure through Kendra and the team, they want to connect you to resources, to people, to systems that will help you succeed. That is their job. That is our life in a lot of ways. So with that, I want to show you, I'm going to reveal for the first time ever, and we actually did 2 of these. So soak this in. We're going to ask you to be posting social media and hashtag my Wildcat, let's see, my Wildcat story. Okay, I'm going to put it up here. And as you're posting, when you start exploring this community and you start learning and growing as a Wildcat family, if you're hashtagging my Wildcat story, we can search that, and others who are in that same journey, writing that same story, but their own, can find you, because this is about connection. This is about relationship, and this is about opportunity. And we're putting all of this in front of you, but it's in your hands now. So again, thank you everybody for being here. I want to show you these things here. Take your time, because there's some links here where you'll be able to find these images, download these images, and all that good stuff. So we're going to leave these up for like 15 minutes as well, so that as people start leaving the meeting, don't worry, it's still there. We want you to be able to find these resources. And again, sometimes direction is hard in this virtual world, and we're all beginners right there with you. There is no like how-to book for what we're trying to do. We're blazing a trail together, and we're on a journey of 1,000 miles of 1,000 first steps. So this was a big first step for us and you. And we look forward so much to getting to know you more and finding out what you're going to do to contribute to this community and make it better, contribute to this university the way you did in this picture. So here it is.
Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road. And although this wave is stringing us along,